Hi Homeworthy, my name is James and welcome to my tiny 600 square foot apartment in Ridgewood, Queens.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Like and subscribe for more.
Hi, welcome to my kitchen. So my kitchen is actually the brightest room in the apartment and it's the last room that I've actually designed or decorated. And it's probably one of the more fun rooms to me. I, again, like I mentioned, love Fornacetti wallpaper. So I went with the Arancia print, which is blood orange. Kind of gives a really fun kind of Italian vibe in here. Being in a rental apartment, I'm very limited on what I could technically do in here, but my landlady is really cool, so she said I could totally paint the cabinets. So I hired a company to come in and they painted everything. I went with this really beautiful red. I was really adamant that it was a deeper red and not like tomato red, which I hate. So it came out really good. I had them cover all the cabinets, and then even this is kind of like a built-in that's like really old to the building. So I had them do that as well, just to kind of bring it up and kind of pull it all together. Recently, I changed all the appliances because even though it is a rental, I just can't stand white appliances. So I actually bought new appliances for the apartment and I'm gifting them to my landlady. So if I ever do leave, she can keep them. But I find though with this wallpaper, it's really, really cool. You don't need a lot of artwork on the walls with this kind of wallpaper. And as a maximalist, I'm so tempted to like hang a lot of stuff up on it, but I kind of let the wallpaper do all the work. So I really keep the walls very simple now, just having the wallpaper. Like I mentioned before, I don't really love appliances. One thing I've been told about this kitchen is that it doesn't feel like a kitchen. It feels more like a living space that just happens to have kitchen appliances in it, which is kind of the vibe I was going for. So my microwave is over here, but I have all my little, again, more liquor and things like that. That's kind of the running theme in here is I have a lot of alcohol stations, I guess. And I do collect some certain things. So I love the Christian Dior Casablanca collection. I've been collecting this stuff for years and I have just about every piece of it. It's been discontinued for a really long time, so whenever I come across these guys, I buy them like crazy. I have plates, I have the bowls, I have the platters, you name it, I have it all. I even have their wine glasses and everything. And again, it's like nice and pretty and shiny, which is what I really love. I love pretty things. And kind of over here again is like the area where I do, unfortunately, all my cleaning and stuff like that. I don't have a dishwasher. It's an old building. So I have to make use of what I have. I did install this guy, which is so helpful for washing dishes. And, you know, these are my everyday blue and whites. So these are like my daily plates that I kind of use. I'll eat like my Burger King and stuff off of this. Do I cook a lot? I'm really good at using the air fryer is what I'm really good at. I also heat up my water like to make my instant coffee. Yes, I'm a Nescafe drinker. So I really don't do heavy cooking. I especially don't in the summertime because it just gets too hot. So I also, when I upgraded my appliances, I actually scaled the size down. So this is like a 24-inch range. I had a larger 30-inch, which was just eating up so much space. So I went down smaller, which is like perfect for this kitchen. So I can actually move around better. I love collecting copper. So this is all the Mauviel copper stuff. So I have lots of different pieces here that I think copper cookware is so beautiful. I wish I used it a little bit more. I should. And then this is actually built into the wall. It's like a little mantle. I believe this is a fireplace. So in this building, these apartments, they're railroad apartments. Old railroad apartments were technically two-family homes. So there's two entrances to the apartment. There is an entrance here from the into the kitchen. And then there's an entrance on the very end in my bedroom. And I believe what it was two families would live in the apartment and they would have access to each end. So this would be like the main room for the two families to cook in and use the bathroom, and then they would have their own rooms so they can keep themselves very private at the same time. It's kind of a cool space. It's great for a single person. I would not want to have roommates or anything like that in this kind of setup. So over here is kind of my little seating, eating area, and it does eat up a lot of the space, but it's so important for me to, this is actually where I do all my work from. So it's just important for me to have like a comfortable area to sit at. And this is one of my first antique pieces I bought many years ago. It's a Garradon table. It's actually supposed to be like a entry table, but I turned it into like a dining table. Has a beautiful black marble top, and it's got all this beautiful ormolu detailing on it down here. And then I have one of my prized pieces. This is a Mason Jansen settee. Pretty durable. It's been kind of attacked a little bit. I have my cat Otis. This is the one piece of furniture that Otis actually does in fact scratch up, which I allow him to do that. I don't care. So he lies on this as well. And then this is, I'm sure a lot of you guys know that artist Josh Young. I've been friends with him for a couple of years. He's a very talented guy. I really like this piece. And one of my big splurges for this year was having these custom shades made. These are Aaron Lauder for Lee Joffa, and they're this beautiful velvet. And I had them made into Roman shades. Surprisingly, very expensive to make Roman shades. So I think between the fabric and then actually having them make the shades, it was probably about $3,000 to $4,000 for the pair, but worth it. I really love it. Like I mentioned before, I'm not a good DIY person. However, I'm really good with the hot glue gun, and I recently decided to cover my Apollo bust in these beautiful shells here, so it gives a little color to him. I have another Josh Young print over there as well. And then over here, this was for the longest time the area of the kitchen that I hated the most. I hate this counter. I hate the countertop. It's an awful laminate. So of course I hired a company to come in and cover all the cabinets in the red paint. And then I decided that I would skirt the counter just to kind of hide off the drawers and the cabinets below. And so I found this really beautiful, these are actually, it was a pair of curtains that I had brought to my seamstress at the dry cleaner, and I had her flip them to the side. So basically the skirt here you can see now is on the bottom, the fringe, which is carried out in my ottoman in the living room. That's the same fringe. And I had her adhere some Velcro, and then it just sticks to here. And anytime I need to access it, I just kind of pull it off like so. And you can see I did not pay for the guys to paint here because I knew that I was never going to have that exposed with the skirt. And I like it. It actually kind of adds some more color, and now I actually enjoy this corner more. And then more of my Luke Edward Hall, Richard Ginori plates as well, kind of gets everything pulled together for that kind of Italian vibe. This little guy here is not the most functional piece. It's really more for someone small to sit at, but it's a piece I had covered again in more, I had some leftover Scalamandri fabric, so I just had them kind of cover this to give more of that animal print in here as well. And then let me show you my bathroom really quickly. Okay. So the bathroom is your typical really tiny bathroom. I'm really lucky I actually have a bathtub. I kind of wanted to just add a little bit of pattern in here. This is a very different room from the rest of the apartment as far as the color goes. I'm using grays and blues, which is very weird for me. But I actually found, I happen to have in my closet a Pottery Barn shower curtain that I just brought to the dry cleaner, and I had the seamstress cut it and turn it into a skirt here just to kind of hide the sink. This is kind of where my trash can and my cleaning stuff is, under here. And then I have a lot of portraits in here of Napoleon and other people, and they basically are all staring at you while you're going to the bathroom. So that was the vibe I was going for, is kind of an uncomfortable feel in the bathroom. And that's my little bathroom. Here we are in my very small, more is more maximalist living room. The room is, I think, about 14 feet by 9 feet, so it's very narrow, as you could probably see, but I've managed to squeeze a lot of stuff in it. I have to start off here with one of my favorite areas of the living room, actually probably in my whole apartment. This was a closet that I decided to give up and utilize it more for a cabinet of curiosities kind of space. I have beautiful dioramas here, Victorian dioramas of birds. And I love candles. Candles are like one of my favorite things. I love diptyque candles, Cire Dawn candles, you name it. I think it's really important in a home to have a beautiful scent. When you walk into a home for the first time, you should really be hit with the beautiful fragrance. Speaking of having like a signature scent in your home, I am obsessed with these Armenian burning papers. I burn them all the time. They're so great. They're like beautifully scented. You just kind of fold them up and light them and then just kind of burn them throughout the apartment, and it just really infuses the whole place with like a really nice scent. So this is like one of my go-tos for like a signature home scent. And I do love fresh flowers. I like to keep my flowers very simple, even though I'm a maximalist. So I just like very simple flower arrangements and things like that. This is a piece I'm actually kind of proud of. I really love fornicetti. So as you kind of walk through here, you're going to see a lot of fornicetti. I also really love malachite, and I love red coral. So you're going to kind of see that kind of combination a lot in here. And I really love the color red. So you're going to see a lot of red throughout my apartment. But like I mentioned before, when this apartment was renovated, they really took out all of the character and charm of the space. It's a pre-war building. So I try adding it back, and instead of adding typical molding, which is what a lot of people would do, I find other ways to add architecture. So this is a fornicetti wallpaper that I actually DIY'd myself, so I'm very proud of that. It took me a couple hours, and I took the whole screen apart and then just used some glue and wallpapered this right on, and it just kind of gives a little bit of that architectural feel. It also kind of breaks up a little bit of the color because there's so many colors happening in here that the black and white just, I find, kind of grounds it a little bit, which is great. One thing in this room is that your eye can't really land on anything. There's so much stuff happening, which I really love, is when someone sees my apartment, every time they notice something different about it, which I think is like really special in a home, is that you kind of go, oh, I never even noticed that you had that, or I never noticed that corner. So it kind of keeps people guessing all the time. Cleaning in this apartment is, you would think a small space would be very easy to clean, and there's a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of dust. So I'm doing dusting constantly. I've had to create fun games to keep myself engaged while I'm dusting. So I usually take a couple shots of some Fireball and start dusting away. And I usually end up forgetting what I'm doing. But the cats are not the problem. It's just having so many things to have to kind of dust down and kind of wipe down. Especially when you have black surfaces, you could really see everything, of course. These are a pair of obelisks that I got when I was in Dallas, and they did not have the intaglios on them, so I wanted to add a little something to it, and I found these beautiful red ones, and then I used some gold leaf and just kind of gave a little shine around on the edges of it, and then just hot glued them on, and now they just kind of stand out a little bit more. And I have a beautiful lucite trunk over here as well. That was a custom made that I keep all of my Hermes boxes in. As you can see here, I have a lot of framed Hermes scarves. That's kind of something that I'm really known for. They're like artwork, of course, and they're very large. So each scarf framed is about 3 by 3. So it really takes up the whole entire wall. I have specific scarves that I really love. I love the Brandenburgs, and I love the tiger. As you'll probably notice, I love animal print, so anything tiger or leopard. I'm a big pillow person. Pillows are like so important to me. I love custom pillows. I love some scalamandre. This is one of my favorite prized pillows. I would say if there ever was a fire in my apartment and I had to run out with something, I would take my cat, and then I would take this Hermes pillow. It's one of my favorite prints. It's the Equator print, which is unfortunately discontinued. I had a dream years ago when I was custom making my sofa that I would actually have the whole sofa covered in this fabric. Unfortunately, it just wasn't in the budget for me, as it would be about $20,000 for the fabric to be able to cover the sofa. So I settled on a really beautiful Italian mohair instead. This is not my forever sofa, so I figured I'll go with a nice fabric. I don't need to invest that much money. And it has a really nice piece. I really love it. It's really comfortable. How do I balance colors and pattern? My philosophy is, if it's pretty, pretty will always match with pretty. So that's my thing. As a perfect example here, when I say pretty always goes with pretty, also anything goes with animal print. Like we all know animal print's a neutral, so you could really mix this into anything really. I really find again that you could really mix everything together and layer, and that's what I love to do, is layering different textures, different fabrics, different patterns, different colors. You kind of notice that I really love gemstone colors. Like I mentioned before, I love malachite, I love coral and things like that. Again, really inspired by Tony Duquette. So speaking of Tony Duquette, this is probably one of my favorite pieces as well. I have a great story with this guy. This is the abalone chandelier from Tony Duquette. This is not the original, but I believe Hutton Wilkinson licensed this out to Baker Furniture years ago, and so they made a bunch of these chandeliers, and I managed to get my hands on one through an interior designer who originally had it hanging in her window in Pennsylvania. It was about 5 years ago that I found it and asked her how much she was selling it for, and she was like $12,000. And I kind of was like, do I want to buy that for $12,000? I kind of was thinking about it, and I waited and I waited, and every year I would call her and say, what's going on with that chandelier? What are you doing with that? And she'd be like, it's yours for $10,000. So I would just kind of wait and wait. And finally, I reached out to her a few years ago and I said, how's it going? What's up with the chandelier? What are you up to? And she said, I'm closing my business. I'm moving down to Florida. The chandelier is yours for $3,000. You can come and pick it up anytime. So I drove over there, picked up this beautiful chandelier. It's all toll, so it's very heavy. And I honestly kept it in the trunk of my SUV for about 3 months, brought it upstairs, left it in my hallway for another 6 months, and then finally hung it maybe about 2 years ago. It's a gorgeous piece. It's so stunning. I obviously, when I had the gentleman hang it, I had to hang it a little low. So if you are not comfortable in here, or if you're maybe a little drunk or whatnot, people tend to hit their head on it. But I kind of like that because I like to laugh at people when they do that. But I'm comfortable in here, so I always know how to walk around it. I also recently started adding these little tassels to it, just again, adding some more layers. I think it just kind of gives it a little bit more. And as you can see here, I have some beautiful Scalamandri chairs. These were, every year, basically, I treat myself to like a big thing. So these were a treat to myself a few years ago. And they will be like a nice down payment on a home eventually, should I ever need to get rid of them. But I really enjoy them. They're really beautiful. I love the shape of them. Again, there's not a lot of space in this room, so it's very narrow. So it's just trying to have the right amount of seating, but also have enough room just to even be able to get by. So over here is kind of my bar cart area. Let's see. So you can see they're like really pretty. Let's see here. Aren't these cute? Should make them into a pillow or something. But I have a whole bunch of these. And yeah, I'm always like on the lookout for there's certain things that I collect. Gucci barware is one, taxidermy is another. And then I also collect specific pieces of china. So we'll see that when we get into my kitchen. But otherwise, this is my little more is more living room. So my guest room is even smaller than my living room, as you can see. I don't really love electronics and things like that. So I have a small TV in here. That's what this room is for, just to kind of hang out. As you can see, I really love red, if I didn't tell you that already. I recently had this whole room covered in Fornasetti wallpaper. I love the Fornasetti malachite wallpaper. So I had my guy Kurt come in and he did one wall for me here, and I kind of was like, oh, I love this. And I was like, let's see what happens if we kind of extend it over to the closet. So then I had him do the closet, and I was like, let's do the wall behind me. Let's do all over. So he just did everything. However, as kind of a wallpaper novice, I learned something. I didn't order enough rolls. So when he said he needed a couple more rolls, I decided to go with a different company that was still selling the same wallpaper. However, it was a different print, so the colors don't match up, and you can kind of see it a little bit throughout the room. So I have kind of adopted this Japanese thought on beauty called wabi-sabi, which is basically finding the beauty in imperfect things. So I always say wabi-sabi, or if there's something that's broken or chipped, I just say wabi-sabi. It's okay, it's what it is. But over here you can see this is kind of my red bed. I really, like I said, love the color red. I'm a Scorpio. It's kind of my color. It works for me. These were a treat to myself years ago. These are really beautiful from the, they're from the 19th century. They are stunning chinoiserie silk from France. These were beautiful panels, that I kind of created this really nice canopy style day bed. I love a good old Nona blanket. So this is the, I'm sure if you have an Italian grandma, you probably have seen these, but these are the bedspreads that are commonly used in Italy. And I found a beautiful red satin one here, which really kind of, again, adds more to that drama of the room. I had my upholsterer, Angelo, completely reupholster this whole bed in a beautiful red velvet, had him make some bolsters for me as well. This is actually one of my favorite pieces here too. This is a really beautiful malachite table that kind of has like that Fornasetti feel to it. One of my favorite designers, Ken Folk, actually used the same table in one of his showrooms, and it just kind of shows that him and I have very good taste in things. So I was really happy to see that he used that. And then also, so this room here is totally off limits. It's my Monica Geller from Friends room that I use to throw all my junk in. So it's actually my bedroom, but it's not really designed. It's probably the most lived in room, but it's definitely not home worthy. So we're gonna skip that room, but you know what? Maybe you guys will have me back in the future and we'll look at that room later. But moving over to here, again, I really just like to have beautiful pieces displayed. I love fragrances. Some of my favorite fragrances that I wear are like Penhaligon's, Halfeti. So that's why I smell so good today. Lots of diptyque and things like that. I love a good boozy scent. So this is one of my favorites. But something I really need to talk to you guys about is this gorgeous lampshade that I actually just had custom made for me by a very talented designer in Maryland, Olive and Limpet. And I reached out to her and was like, hey, can you do a beautiful red shade for me that's in silk? And she put this together in 1 week and sent it to me. Gotta check her out. She's so good. She makes beautiful finials as well. The ceiling is really fun to look at too. I recently had the ceiling wallpapered in House of Hackney leopard print. And then of course this stunning chandelier I think really kind of pulls everything together. The chandelier is from the 1940s, it's from India, and it just has that beautiful ruby red that I love. And then of course I added again more tassels up at the top just to kind of give a little bit more of that little detail. This Gucci pillow was a little treat to myself a few years ago. I love it. And it just gives, again, a little bit more of that pop of that color. And I love using plates for decoration, of course. So we have some Fornasetti plates. This actually was purchased for me as a gift from a really good friend of mine, Nancy. I was collecting all the plates and I got a little out of hand with them. So now I just have it scaled down to just 3 of the Luke Edward Hall plates in my whole apartment, and they have the other ones hidden. But again, I like kind of the mix of the colors of the green and the pinks and the reds and things like that. And of course the animal print. Home for me is, well, I guess it's someplace that you could feel really comfortable in and totally be yourself and, you know, be totally at ease and at the same time really enjoy like your surroundings. I think for me that's really what home is.
Thanks for watching. For more home-worthy content, be sure to like and subscribe.